Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Astral Card Vault. Today we're going to see what's really going on with the person who thought they had let you go. But the truth in their heart says something completely different. Take a slow breath with me before we begin, because this reading already feels very emotional. This is a general love reading, so please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Energies can be reversed. Timing can move differently for everyone, and not every message will belong to every person watching. But if you were drawn here, there may be something in this reading that your heart is ready to hear. Okay? I'm looking at this first card, and this is interesting. We have the Four of Cups energy coming through very strongly. This card is telling me that your person tried to sit inside emotional silence and convince themselves they were fine. They may have acted bored, detached, unavailable, or even cold. But I'm just going to say what I'm picking up: this was not peace. This was avoidance. In this image, there's a cup being offered, but the person sitting there looks withdrawn, almost frozen inside their own thoughts. And that is exactly the emotional pattern Spirit is showing me. This person had love, softness, and warmth right in front of them, but instead of receiving it fully, they pulled back. They may have told themselves, "I don't need this, I can move on, I can ignore this feeling." But their heart did not agree. What they felt with you was not ordinary. Your energy offered something gentle but intense, something that made them feel seen in places they usually keep hidden, and that scared them. So instead of opening, they emotionally folded inward. They went quiet. They distracted themselves. They pretended the cup did not matter. But here's the twist: the cup still mattered. This person may have thought distance would make the connection fade, but the silence created an echo. The more they tried not to feel you, the louder your energy became inside them. And before we move into what happened between you two, I want you to notice this. The first card is not showing someone who has moved on. It is showing someone who refused to admit what was being offered. Now I want to pull into the next layer, because the opening energy is already telling me that this person's actions and their heart are not saying the same thing. The next card coming through is the Eight of Wands, and okay, this immediately changes the pace of the reading. Because the Four of Cups was showing me the emotional refusal, the sitting still, the pretending not to care. But the Eight of Wands shows me what was happening underneath that stillness. This is not dead energy. This is not nothing. This is pressure. This is movement. This is emotion traveling fast beneath the surface. Even if outwardly, this person looked completely silent. And I want you to look at the feeling of this card for a moment. These wands are moving across the sky. There is speed here. There is direction here. There is something that cannot just stay buried forever. So even if this person has been quiet, even if they have not been giving you the message, the apology, the explanation, or the clarity, Spirit is showing me that inside them, things have not been quiet at all. That's the strange part of this energy. On the outside, they may have looked frozen feelings, emotional silence, no movement, no reaching out, maybe even acting like they were busy, distracted, healed, fine, unbothered. But internally, their thoughts were moving in every direction. One moment they were telling themselves, "I'm done." The next moment, they were remembering your voice, your face, something you said, the way you made them feel safe and exposed at the same time. That won't be for everybody, but for some of you, this person has almost been irritated by how often you come into their mind, not because they hate it, but because they cannot control it. They thought silence would make them powerful, but silence gave their heart more room to speak. And I feel like this person has been fighting the urge to do something. Send something, check something, ask something, break the ice. There is a message energy here, but it feels held back by pride, fear, or timing. It's like the impulse is fast, but the hand stops before it reaches the phone. So when they acted cold, I don't feel like that coldness was truth. I feel like it was a cover over emotional pressure. And this is where I want to go deeper, because the Eight of Wands tells me the silence was not empty, it was building. But if the silence was building, then something had to create it. So now I want to see what put them in that frozen place in the first place, because this didn't come from nowhere. Now we have the Two of Swords, and this is very clear. This is showing me that what created the silence was not a lack of feeling. It was a refusal to face what those feelings meant. This person reached a point where their heart and their mind were pulling in two different directions. And instead of choosing honesty, instead of choosing vulnerability, instead of choosing a real conversation with you, they chose the blindfold. They chose not to look directly at the connection. And I'm just going to say what I'm picking up. For many of you, this person created a sense of closeness first. They may have made you feel like something was opening. There could have been deep conversations, chemistry, emotional intensity, little moments where you felt, okay, this is real, they feel this too. And they did. But then something shifted. The Two of Swords tells me they got scared when the connection started requiring a decision. Not just flirting, not just feeling, not just missing each other in private, a real decision, a real choice, a real emotional responsibility. That won't be for everybody, but for some of you. This person may have pulled you close and then suddenly acted like they didn't know what they wanted. They may have gone quiet right when you needed reassurance. They may have avoided answering direct questions. They may have acted neutral, distant, or strangely calm, while you were sitting there trying to understand what changed. But what changed was not their heart. What changed was their fear. Spirit is showing me someone who wanted the connection, but did not want to face the consequences of wanting it. Maybe they had pride. Maybe they had another situation around them. Maybe they were afraid of losing control. Maybe they were used to keeping people at a distance, and your energy came in too close, too quickly, too honestly. And I feel like you eventually stopped chasing clarity from someone who kept choosing confusion. You may have stopped explaining yourself. You may have stopped reaching. You may have pulled your energy back because you realized you could not keep standing in front of a closed door, asking someone to admit they were home. And that is when they felt it. They thought distance would give them control, but it exposed how attached they still were. Because when you stopped pushing, they had nothing left to fight except their own feelings. And when someone knows they created confusion, but also knows they still care, that is where guilt starts to rise. So the part I want to look at next is the guilt, because I feel like they know they mishandled something with you. And now the Star is here, and this is actually very revealing. Because this card does not feel loud, it feels quiet, but in a very honest way. The Star is showing me the part of this person that knows you are a source of healing. You may not even realize how much your energy softened something in them. You may not realize how much they leaned on your warmth, your patience, your understanding, your presence, and that is part of the guilt here. Because I feel like this person did not just walk away from a person, they walked away from something that made them feel emotionally safe. And I'm just going to say what I'm picking up. They feel guilty because you gave them a side of yourself that was genuine. You were not playing the same emotional game they were playing. You may have been confused, yes, hurt, yes, but your intention toward them feels honest. The Star is very pure in that way. It tells me you may have offered hope, patience, forgiveness, or emotional openness, and instead of meeting you there, they held back. They may have avoided clarity. They may have chosen pride. They may have chosen comfort. They may have chosen work, money, family pressure. Another situation, or just the fear of being vulnerable. But underneath all of that, they know they left you holding questions that should have been answered. They thought silence would protect them, but it actually exposed the truth. And the truth is, they did not give you the full picture. They let you believe they cared less than they actually did. That is the part that feels heavy. Because the Star shows me that, even after the silence, even after the confusion, some part of you may have still hoped they would come forward correctly, not chasing, not begging, just hoping they would be honest enough to say, I didn't handle this well. And I feel like they know that. They know they were colder than they needed to be. They know they could have explained more. They know they could have treated your heart with more care. And there is guilt around making you question whether the connection meant anything to them at all. Because it did. This is very clear. The Star is telling me the feeling was real, but their response to the feeling was immature, guarded, or afraid. So now that we have seen the guilt, I want to move into what happens inside them when your energy actually comes up. Because guilt is one layer. But the feeling underneath it is where this starts to get very specific. The Ace of Wands is coming out now. And okay, this is interesting, because this card is not quiet at all. This is the part they are not admitting. When your name comes up, when your energy crosses their mind, when something reminds them of you. I don't feel like it lands softly and disappears. I feel like it sparks something. The Ace of Wands is showing me that there is still desire here, still attraction, still curiosity, still that sudden emotional heat that rises before they can talk themselves out of it. And I'm just going to say what I'm picking up. This person may have tried to make you ordinary in their mind. They may have tried to tell themselves, it was not that deep. I can find that again. I can move forward. I can forget this. But the Ace of Wands says your energy still wakes something up in them. Not just physically, although for some of you. Yes, there is strong physical attraction here, but deeper than that, you activate something in them emotionally. You make them feel alive in a way they have not been able to recreate. That won't be for everybody, but for some of you. This person compares people to you without wanting to admit they are comparing. They notice when someone does not laugh like you. They notice when conversations feel flat. They notice when attention feels easy but not meaningful. And that is where the truth in their heart starts getting uncomfortable. Because you are not just someone they liked. You were someone who lit a part of them up. Spirit is showing me that this person goes back and forth between craving your energy and fearing what it would mean to approach you again. They wonder if you would still be warm. They wonder if you would answer. They wonder if you have changed, and honestly, I feel like they are a little afraid that you see through them now. They may be thinking, what if they know I was pretending? What if they know I cared more than I showed? What if they don't look at me the same? Because the Ace of Wands is bold, but this person's ego is cautious. Their feelings are louder than their behavior. Their desire is still burning, but their pride keeps trying to control the flame. And this is very clear when they remember you. They do not feel nothing. They feel the beginning of something they never fully allowed themselves to enter. But feeling that spark is not the same as doing something about it. So now let's ask what they're actually planning, because feelings are one thing, but action is where the truth starts to show itself. Justice is showing up here, and this is a very important card to come out when we are asking about action. Because justice is not chaotic. It is not impulsive. It is not someone rushing in without thinking. Justice is showing me that this person knows something has to be made right. They may not know exactly how to do it yet, but they know there is an imbalance between what they felt, what they showed, and what they left you to carry. This is accountability energy. But I want to be careful with this, because I don't feel like this person is necessarily coming in with some huge dramatic confession right away. For a lot of you, this feels like someone testing the waters first, watching, checking, looking from a distance, seeing if your energy feels open or closed, maybe viewing something, maybe liking something, maybe reacting in a way that seems small, but underneath it, there is a much bigger question. Can I still come towards you? That is what I keep hearing. Justice tells me they are weighing the consequences. They know they cannot just appear like nothing happened. They know there is history here. They know there are things that were left unsaid. So even if they come in casually, even if the message sounds simple, like, hey, how have you been, or I saw this and thought of you, I feel like there is more behind it than the words themselves. They want the door open, but they are afraid of knocking too hard. And I feel like this person may be waiting for the moment where it feels safe. Not because they don't care, but because they are afraid of your reaction. They are afraid you may respond with distance. They are afraid you may not respond at all. They are afraid that once they finally face you, they will have to face the version of themselves that avoided you. That is the heavier part. So the upcoming action feels cautious, but intentional. There is soon energy here for some of you, but I don't want to give exact dates because timing is different for everyone. I would say this moves when they stop fighting themselves, when the emotion becomes too heavy to contain, and when they realize silence is no longer protecting them. Justice is saying they want to correct something. And when someone wants to correct something, there is usually a truth sitting behind the apology. So before we go further, I want to pull into what they secretly wish they could say to you, because this is where the heart starts talking louder than the ego. The Queen of Coins is coming through now, And this makes so much sense with what we were just feeling. Because this card is showing me your energy in their heart. Stable, warm, grounded, valuable, not loud, not desperate, not chasing, but deeply present. And I feel like this is part of why they cannot just erase you. You represented something real, something safe, something that had weight to it. So, I want to move into what they secretly wish they could say, because with the Queen of Coins here, I feel like this person knows they were not just walking away from chemistry. They were walking away from someone who actually cared. The first message I'm hearing is, I thought I could let you go, but I keep coming back to your energy. And that tells me they tried to detach mentally, but emotionally. Your presence kept returning. Your energy has stayed in the room even after you left it. The next message is, I acted colder than I felt. That one feels very direct. They know their behavior did not match what was happening inside. They may have looked calm, but that calm was controlled, not honest. Then I'm hearing, I didn't know how to tell you the truth without exposing how vulnerable I was. And this is where the ego comes in. They may have wanted to say more, but saying more would have revealed how much power this connection had over them. Another message, I tried to replace the feeling, but nothing felt the same. That won't be for everybody, but for some of you. They did try to distract themselves with other people, work, attention, routines, anything. But the Queen of Coins is not easy to replace. Your energy had substance. The next one is, I still check on you even when I pretend I don't. And I feel that strongly. Maybe it is social media. Maybe it is asking indirectly. Maybe it is watching your life from a distance and acting like it means nothing. Then we have, I know we need to talk about everything. They know there is unfinished conversation here. They know silence did not close the chapter. It only made the chapter heavier. And this one feels tender. I'm afraid you won't look at me the same. Because they can feel that you have changed. They can feel that you are not sitting in the same place emotionally. And finally, my heart never fully left. That is the truth under all of this. But messages are one layer. A hidden feeling can be real and still not be enough on its own. So now I want to know their true intention. Because missing you and being ready for you are not always the same thing. The Nine of Wands is here now, and this is exactly the kind of card I would expect when we are asking about true intention. Because this person is guarded. They may want to come toward you. They may still feel pulled to you. They may still think about what happened, what they should have said, what they should have done differently. But the Nine of Wands tells me there is a wall around their heart. And honestly, that wall did not appear overnight. This feels like someone who has been hurt before, disappointed before, maybe even trained themselves to expect emotional situations to become complicated. So when they felt something real with you, instead of relaxing into it, they braced themselves. They protected themselves from the very thing they wanted. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Their intention may be to reconnect, but their emotional readiness is still something to watch. Because the Nine of Wands can want love and still flinch when love gets too close. It can crave closeness and still hide behind control. It can miss you deeply and still delay the conversation. So yes, I do feel feelings here. Yes, I do feel attachment. Yes, I do feel that your energy still matters to them, but love can be present, but maturity still matters. That is the balance Spirit keeps bringing through. They may want to see if there's still a chance, but they may not come in fully open at first. They may come in carefully, they may test the mood, they may say less than they feel. They may look for signs that you are safe to approach before they reveal what is actually happening inside. And for some of you, this person is tired of fighting themselves. The Nine of Wands is wounded, but it is still standing. So I feel like this person has not fully given up on the connection. They are just afraid of what it would require to truly repair it. Because repairing this means they cannot just miss you. They would have to be honest with you. They would have to show you consistency. They would have to face the silence, the mixed signals, the emotional coldness, the way they left you unsure, and I feel like they know that. So their true intention is not empty. It is not careless, but it is cautious, guarded, watching, trying to understand whether there is still a path back without getting hurt or being rejected. And that brings us to the question you probably came here for. Because guarded feelings are one thing, but long-term potential is another. Do they actually want something long-term? Or are they just missing your energy? The Knight of Coins comes through for that question, and this answers it in a very grounded way. Because this is not someone who only wants a quick emotional rush. This is not the energy of someone who just misses your attention for a moment and then disappears again. The Knight of Coins moves slowly, but there is weight behind it. There is thought behind it. There is a sense of, if I come forward, I need to come forward correctly. And that is where the long-term potential begins. Not in fantasy, not in promises, not in one emotional message at midnight. It begins with consistency. I feel like this person may be thinking about the future more seriously than they were before. And for some of you, that is part of what the separation did. It slowed everything down enough for them to finally look at what they were avoiding. When they had access to you, they may have taken your presence for granted, but when your energy pulled back, when you stopped standing there with the same open heart, something became very real to them. They realized the cup may not stay offered forever. And that is important. Because the old version of this connection cannot continue. They cannot ignore your heart, avoid the conversation, disappear into silence, and expect you to remain emotionally available in the same way. The Knight of Coins tells me if there is a new beginning here, it has to be built differently, slower, more honestly, with accountability, with real effort, with actions that match words. That won't be for everybody, but for some of you, distance, timing, or life circumstances have played a role here. There may have been trust wounds, grief, regret, or unfinished emotions sitting between you. And I feel like this person is aware that they cannot just walk around those things. They have to walk through them. And I want to say this clearly, you have grown. You are not the same person they left in confusion. You are not the same person who was waiting for them to choose emotional honesty. Your energy feels stronger now, more grounded, more self-protective. And that does not make you cold. It means you learned. So yes, I do see long-term potential, but only if this person comes back with changed behavior, not just longing, not just guilt, not just I miss you. The Knight of Coins says, show me. And they may return because they finally understand what they lost. But now Spirit wants to bring this back to you, because this final message is not about waiting for them to understand. It's about what your soul needs to remember while you keep choosing yourself. And now we close with the Page of Wands, and I like this as the final message, because this brings the energy back to you in a really important way. The Page of Wands is not sitting in the past. This card is turned toward the light. It is curious. It is open. It is looking at what comes next. And I feel like Spirit is saying, yes, this person may still think about you. Yes, they may still feel that spark. Yes, they may realize now that they were not as over you as they tried to act. But your life is not meant to pause while someone learns how to be honest. That is the message. Because with this Page of Wands, your energy is being asked to return to itself, to your own fire, your own movement, your own excitement, your own peace. You are not being asked to sit in emotional waiting, checking for signs, wondering if this person is finally going to choose the cup they once ignored. You can care and still keep moving. You can listen if they return, but you do not have to abandon your boundaries just because they finally found the courage to speak. An apology is meaningful only when it is followed by changed behavior. A message is only a beginning. A confession is only a door opening. What matters is whether they can walk through that door with consistency, respect, and emotional honesty. And I feel like part of why this person cannot let you go is because your energy has changed. You are not reaching the same way. You are not proving the same way. You are not trying to convince someone to see your value. You are becoming harder to emotionally access because you are becoming more connected to yourself. And that is powerful. The Page of Wands tells me there is an awakening here, a new chapter in your confidence, a new relationship with your own desire, your own joy, your own future. So whether this person comes forward or stays silent a little longer, Spirit does not want you losing yourself in the question of what they will do. Let them come correctly. Let them show you. Let their actions speak louder than the ache they kept hidden. And for you, choose peace, choose balance, Choose the version of yourself that no longer shrinks to fit inside someone else's fear. If this reading resonated, you can like, subscribe, and share your energy in the comments. And if this message found you at the right time, comment, "My heart chooses peace." Thank you for being here with me at Astral Card Vault. Take care of your heart, beautiful souls, and I'll see you in the next reading.